9. Former Vice President runs for mayor. First third. Former Vice President Perland Oakard Spench, otherwise known as Okie Dokie to both political rivals and socio-political enemies alike, leaned against the world's strongest oak podium known as Okie Spokey, a treasured relic from his hometown, Spinach Products in Oak. To deter anyone with a brimming schedule or anyone without an active driver's license from voting, elections, elected council meetings, and other political referendums known as club fair electorals were held in abandoned mine shafts positioned a minimum 2-hour drive away from their citizenry. Once its respective citizens, who were the most likely to be the most dutiful and enthusiastic, were able to find a mostly legitimate parking spot, police often spare the public its due on such occasions as a result of traffic. Entry to these events often required an active passport, 2 birth certificates, one from the hospital signed by a doctor, and one from the Federation signed by your mother, a LIBRARY card with a minimum of 3 checked-out books absent of any fees or fines, and the phone numbers and physical locations of 2 or more state-approved health insurance agencies, a proud and recent additional requirement of the Federation. The abandoned mine shafts received premium treatment in preparation for such operations, so much so that official entrants usually hovered around 3 or 4 years of taxation, depending on the current year's inflation rate. This allowed for representatives of non-profit organization, Sterling Magazine lobbyists, and horseshoe train passengers to share a single space together, regardless of their socioeconomic privileges or lack thereof. Perland's sole remaining opponent, Miss Augrine Solka Tinther, had disappeared the night prior, so Perland stood to face the crowd of disjointed and sweaty voters by himself. He brought note cards. My fellow citizens and I reside in one of the most beautiful, if not positively symmetrical, epicenters of spinach and oak, so before we begin, let us rejoice in the glory of our fearsome and benevolent Federation, which chooses to provide us with products that are not spinach and oak related, so we may continue to survive and produce more spinach and oak related products. Vice President? A bright blur of teal highlighted the third row. I sincerely apologize for the spectacle, but we have no time for applause or gratitude. Our beloved Federation, blessed be thy name, is currently draining a local mosquito pond due to its inconvenient positioning next to a children's grass park. I have a rep on the phone with me, on hold, and he's waiting for your order. Please, Mr. Vice President, save the pond. Mosquitoes are important organisms by themselves, but pray not for them, but for the children. Mosquito bites are essential for a still developing mind. They are a soul's first introduction to temptations of the epidermis and hungry sentient forces beyond their control. Ma'am, I am here to inform you I am no longer Vice President, as I am running for mayor. Furthermore, I may not communicate with the Federation or the Federal Preserves once they have ceased me from office. Oh, well, what's your opinion then? My father used to say, if a riddle cannot be solved, then it's a fiddle. Does that make sense? Are you suggesting accept our diligence as caregivers, that children are, and allow for the hands of the fates to shape, are incapable of trials of children's futures? This is compromise and balance. The trials of today are reflected by the memories of yesterday's. However, in employing our children to suffer through lessons we have already learned, we make ourselves out to be cold. Difficulty? If it satiates you for me to articulate it, then yes, I believe children are incapable of trials of difficulty. The consequences of such trials are not evident until maturity. Mr. Spench, a flat palm, stiffly shining underneath a spotlight, stuck out from the crowd like a splinter. A Sterling Magazine lobbyist. I speak on behalf of an anonymous citizen who has recently been victimized by a slanderous campaign of brutalitarian magnitude. I see myself due in court. Under the oath of law, I am sworn to disclose naught but such fragments of his case. With your permission, may I have the honor to present his troubles before you? I will listen. He is present with an acute affliction of +/soc-b to the power of (2 and (equals ethnicness XY), meaning his symptoms are sudden, intense, and disabling. His wife has filed for divorce on multiple accounts of domestic abuse. She has listed no evidence for her claim, insisting that her word is fearlessly honest and naturally inclined to be of good heart, which bears no malice towards him, as she is incapable of hatred. The eventime of these claims are 12 years in solitary detention, yet this falls far from the crux of my concern. You see, they continued the court without him. They were able to draft an AIM, an antique introject machina, using data from personal journals, family records, and security camera footage. This man has been replaced in court by an automate and is laying to serve 12 years in brick once he has procured a healthy blood sample for the hospital. Perlin sighed. You're going to say, and nobody cares about him except for me next, aren't you? Mr. Spench, let us say I already did. How do you rule in a court representation of this nature? Justice carries little resemblance with the truth, yet this fails to be a tragic flaw. I rule in favor of a retrial, absent any automate, once he is deemed of sound heart and mind by health officials. We appreciate your generosity, Mr. Spench. You will have my vote, regardless of the disappearance of Miss Augrine Solkatinther. Thank you. The Shadow Things of Stones and Regrets, or STSR for short, was a collection of incels who self-identified as no longer human, since the scientific classification of a species is marked by the point in which a body cannot reproduce with bodies of a shared class. They believe they harness the reputation of being weird but harmless, although many people would beg to disagree with them. The inherent nature of their weirdness was immediately felt as harmful to themselves and their loved ones. STSR was able to operate a non-profit for themselves in association with a local water filtration company in exchange for 500 donated volunteer hours. Their motto was, "Their true minority lies within the individual. The true individual stands with the minority." Mayor Spench, they all hummed in unison. It's just Mr. Spench. Almost Mayor Spench. Several voices sung deeper while a few more raised higher. It's still just Mr. Spench. Almost Mayor Mr. Spench. They hummed in unison again. Yes. Chapter 9 of Unspecified Terminal Condition.